What's going on, people? Welcome to the Offside Chat podcast. It's your boy Naber. I'm joined again by the team, the one and only Naeem and Edward. How are you fellas today? You're good?
All blessed, all right.
All good, brother.
All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and definitely join in the conversation. Just for all the people that watch the podcast as well, we're always welcome to bring on different supporters to kind of give your just give your opinion on things. And if you want to, whatever we say, which is provocative, which obviously it won't be, but if you do find it provocative, rather than cussing us online, look, you're free to come, and so obviously just hit us up on this. But I think we need to start one place and one place only. We need to start with Liverpool, the reigning Premier League champions. However, are they in a mini crisis? Let me just put some context and we go straight to Ed, because there's 3 games that they've lost in a row. But I say put into context, if Amarin loses 3 games in a row, even if he loses 1, his head's on the chopping board. God forbid if Arteta goes away and gets a draw, his head is on the chopping board. So look, they've set the standards here. You know, you lose to Crystal Palace, go to the Champions League, you lose against Galatasaray, and then on the weekend you go to Chelsea and you lose again. Edward, is it a mini crisis at Liverpool?
I think crisis is a bit too strong, but it's definitely something for them to think about and a cause for concern. But if you look at their playing style and how they performed in the 7 games since the Prem started, they haven't really been good. It's been fits and starts. But if you're looking for like a complete performance from minute 1 to 90, they haven't been good. And yeah, you can point to a myriad of reasons. A lot of transition in terms of player recruitment, players leaving. Trent left. They replaced him with what's his name?
Kirkes.
Frimpong, sorry.
No, Frimpong, sorry, yeah.
Frimpong. They replaced Robertson with Kirkes. Isak's been brought in. An aging core in the sense that, Van Dijk is not getting any younger, Salah's not getting any younger, Alisson's not getting any younger. They haven't really got a replacement or backup for Gravenberch. I know they play with Endo, but he doesn't seem to be, the guy that they can trust for most of the season. So there is mitigation, but up until obviously the Crystal Palace loss, they were 5 for 5. Wasn't the free scoring Liverpool we're accustomed to. But yeah, I wouldn't say crisis, but it's defo cause for concern, and they definitely need to buck up their ideas, because if they continue playing like this, they will not be retaining their Premier League. The league is strong enough. Any team can beat you on their day. If you think about it, the teams that have got promoted are doing very well. Sunderland's doing very well. Leeds are okay. Burnley are okay. It's not like the 3 teams from last season where they were rubbish and they couldn't defend for toffee, couldn't score, couldn't play well. So the league is a very difficult league, man. So if you want to be champions, you have to be on your game for pretty much most of the season, if not all of it. Otherwise, you'll find yourself not, reaching your objectives. So you're right. There is context. I wouldn't be too scared if I'm a Liverpool fan, but it is funny to see that all it takes is a couple of losses for, their true feelings to come out. So I remember when other fans were saying, you're not even that good, or you're not playing well, they could say, listen, 5 out of 5, top of the league, yada, yada, yada. Now they've been losing games. All the things that rival fans have been saying, like your fullbacks are food. Salah's not playing well. Florian Wirtz, £116 million. He's not playing well. Now the Liverpool fans, they're being honest. They're being very, very honest. Oh, we missed Trent, or we haven't replaced Trent adequately. And there's another thing which I think needs to be spoken about. I'm seeing a lot of pundits and fans talk about the loss of Jota, and not so much the physical loss, but the emotional and mental loss. Obviously, he died in the summer, and may he rest in perfect peace. But having to deal with that sort of heavy loss will take its toll on players and the team emotionally, right? And I think Van Dijk intimated, I don't think he specifically said in many words like Jota is the reason, but he did say that this season is going to be difficult because of what happened off the field. And I think he was alluding to the fact that, we did lose Jota, and it's a heavy, heavy loss. He was not only beloved in the club, but he was beloved worldwide. And you could just see that outpouring of emotion when he died The football community, the football world took a heavy loss within passing. So that is something to think about. So I'm not going to, over-index that, but there's definitely something to think about, and it will be a testament to them if they can try and meet their objectives, having suffered this loss. But it's not quite a crisis, but it is something to think about. Like, they can't be losing too many games, and they have a tough run of games coming up, man, after the international break.
Now, Ed, listen, man, I think you've raised a fair point regarding the Yotta. Rest in peace on that forever. I mean, it must be shocking, especially for the players. This is like your teammate, anybody that works. This is like somebody that you go to work with and you spend so much time. So that must be devastating for them. But going back just to the football, I'm going to say it is a slight mini crisis. Now, look, they find themselves 1 point off the top of the Premier League. They're not even playing well. So to be fair, I would have any team will bite your hands off if you're not actually playing well. But you're right, they have started the season quite poorly. A lot of last minute goals, obviously added time. As you said, your luck is going to run out. But look, let's stick to the real facts with Liverpool supporters, because for some reason, look, they seem to see football in a complete different way than us. They see things that don't exist. They've got so much grace for players at Anfield. They're the best supported clubs. They've got the most, the best fans. Their players. Oh yeah, you just you don't understand football, so you can't criticize their players. But I will. Let's just cut to the chase.
That's a good bar to use.
Big money. Yeah, like they see things that we can't see. So let me ask some questions to them. So 160 million, 130 million for words. He's struggling. There's no way to try to, gloss over this, because you said this is one of the best number 10s in the world preseason. And I'm convinced not a lot, and not all of them, but many Liverpool fans didn't even watch this guy. It was the fact that, the Bundesliga, he's a very talented boy. No question about that. But yeah, we're going on. We've got one of the best number 10s. This is what we've been missing for so long. He's coming. When you come in for 116 million, you have to kind of hit the ground running, or at least put on, at least out of 7 or 8 games, you need to put on some good performances. 1 or 2, 3 at most, where you think, oh, I've seen some magic. You're not going to get away with the little touch that he played on Saturday's game to Salah and tell me that's worth that. He's struggling. The physicality of the Premier League and the price tag, I think, is drowning him. We're going to go to Isak as well. Listen, nobody's questioned that. They've probably signed the striker that, the majority of people, especially in the Premier League, wanted this summer. But look, he's 6 games and 1 goal as well. The reason why I say I'm not going to let them off on this, or they need time to bed and stuff. Liverpool supporters are very quick to pocket watch other people's clubs and how much they're spending on players. They went out to go and bid over 100 million for Casado. They ended up with egg on their face. But then Klopp has been spending many years, or saying, "Oh, look how much these people are spending." They forgot how much they spent on Alisson, Van Dijk as well, breaking records left, right, and centre. They've done it again with Isak. They've done it again with Wirtz. But for some reason, they're pretending that, oh, look, poor us. We're not spending as much as the others. Well, this summer you definitely have. And the reason why I'm not going to let them off on this, and it is early days. It's only 7 games in. So things can change. That's football. I don't know why people say, oh, it's only 7 games. You guys are moving mad. But after every game, you're going to have an opinion. If not, then let's keep quiet and all say, let's stay quiet until we hit 15 games. It's unrealistic. It's sour grapes now. You just don't want anybody telling the truth. And the reason why I'm not going to let them get away with it is because I'm going to look at 2 guys, 2 England stalwarts that went for over 100 million. Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice. There was no grace for them. Jude Bellingham walked into Madrid. You talk about pressure. You don't talk about Liverpool that reigning champion. You talk about Real Madrid. That white flag could have come out. Over 100 million. That boy went there and actually said, you know what? I'm a £100 million player. I'm going to do my thing. Ends up as the player of the season. Declan Rice, the question marks. 100 million. 100 million Declan Rice. West Ham 100 million. We don't even talk about the transfer fee at all. So I don't want to hear that, oh, because it's over 100 mil and, oh, let's give them time to settle in and stuff. Fine. If you're a 50 million pound player, 60, you might get a little bit of time to settle in. But listen, a lot of money's been spent. These were the guys you were talking about non-stop. So we need to start seeing them deliver.
Look at
Nine.
Jack Grealish, bro.
Huh?
Jack Grealish is another one. He went for £100 million.
Yeah.
Liverpool fans were very vocal about how he
Come
wasn't
on.
the same Jack Grealish that played for Villa, but now they want to call, for calm. I mean, I get it. When it's your player, you want to practice, everyone be easy, early days yet. When it's other fans and other players that, play for other clubs that go for big money, you will quickly start analyzing their performances. Oh, is he good? Is he justifying his price tag? It's the name of the game, man.
They went for Chelsea as well. Before tonight, they went for Chelsea. Oh yeah, Casado, look how much
Enzo.
Casado. Fair enough. But question I need to ask the Liverpool supporters is that who's had the better start in their career going for big money? Nicolas Pepe or Florian Wirtz? Because Nicolas Pepe is the flop of flops, right? He was the flop. Oh my God, 70 mil.
If you look at his numbers, they're not really flopping numbers, are they?
Yeah, check the stats and come back to me. Naeem, are they in a crisis?
No, I don't think. Not yet. I think our favorite word on this show is context. I think, bad week. I think if you think of 3 defeats in a row, but still only 1 point off Arsenal. 1 week, and as you said, every week it could change. I do think that some of the issues we've seen, especially defensively, from the start of the season, I think it's been highlighted, and I think people are now fully taking advantage of that. And I think we're seeing it in most games. We know that there's defensively they've not been great. There was we talk about Trent, defensively not the greatest and this and that, but I don't think there were shakers this when he was playing right back in certain aspects. My big concern with Liverpool is, and I think they've got they brought a lot of new attacking players, and he's trying to fit them all into the team. So give him that credit. But the thinking where, and me, I know we're going to say something. Szoboszlai getting moved out midfield sometimes. I think they're trying to shoehorn everybody into that team. Naturally, I think Ekitike doesn't even look happy straight away with him being signed. He was sent for 90 million because he's nearly £100 million player. Let's not forget. Well, we talk about the other two. Ekitike was what, 90?
I think it was like 70 something, rising to 90 add-ons.
Yeah. So okay, let's add it on for Liverpool because
they're very crafty with their finances.
My thing is with Liverpool is, I think you made a great point. I think without Trent, Salah, you can see he's getting less service, right? And I think 100% less service.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah. He's the outball swimmer for either Van Dijk or Trent. That was their general play. Without Trent being there, it's very clear. But I think I've kept my mouth relatively quiet about some of the signings, but Isak doesn't look fully fit for me yet. He will come. I think
that's fair because he was on strike and he came back.
Strike, isn't it? Yeah. So
you're the British transfer record, man. You're the British transfer record.
But Wirtz, look, maybe I was a bit hoodwinked from the little bits you see in the Bundesliga or the bits you see for Germany. I saw it was, However, the League Two does look too quick for him. His touch was poor on some of the. There was some of the just basic footballing. It's been very poor for him. And I think he's shot off confidence completely. What concerned me for Liverpool, especially on the weekend when we talk about the game as well, is that Chelsea had what? They had to change it. How many centre backs did they have to change? They ended up with what? Reece Nelson there.
Reece James and Achampong,
Yeah, he got injured as well. I think Reece James is out again for England. They had Chelsea there for the taking, within reason, and they had no real idea even with all those players on the pitch. They seem to be devoid of creativity.
My question, Naeem, did they turn up? And listen, you've raised a very fair point there. Liverpool fans, hit me up. Let me know what you think about this. But very interesting that they turned up to Stamford Bridge. And Stamford, listen, Chelsea have got their injuries, no doubt about that. But was there a slight handbrake from Slot there? Because I could see you got Josh Ashenbron, you got Badiashile playing centre backs. Garnacho starting. No Cole Palmer there. These are the champions, and you turn up with a mega squad. You've got your new signing, Kirkes, you got Gravenberch, McAllister in the team, Szoboszlai's put on there, Salah's there, Gakpo, and you've got the Premier League's or English football's most expensive player. This Chelsea team is weak. This Chelsea team is on the back of not great form. Maresca's under a lot of pressure. If this was other managers that turned up there and didn't dominate possession and didn't look convincing, we might be questioning them, saying, "Are you putting on a handbrake? What's going on here? Are they going to be avoid of this criticism again?" Or is
I
it just
think so, because at the end of the day, Liverpool are the defending champions, isn't it? Regardless of what, and they're only 1 point off the top. So again, I do think it's only 7 games in. I do think league don't lie after 10, 12 games. Let's start see how it comes back after the international break, and if this continues. I can see Liverpool turning this around a little bit. I think once he's settled down and decided who he's going to play in his attacking lineup, he needs to stop this Szoboszlai right back nonsense he does. Even though, to be
what
fair,
do you think he did though? Szoboszlai played.
He moved there, didn't he, in the weekend, didn't he? Because he had to get Wirtz in the pitch.
So no, Wirtz didn't start. It was
but they
Bradley,
took Bradley, didn't they? And they put him to right back straight away for the second half. He's got to be a bit more decisive in terms of one player that I did see Daniel Sturridge make a very good point actually about Luis Diaz. They're missing him and his press. And they said one thing he did as a attacking player defensively was very unselfish. Where the players,
he's not missing them because I saw I saw the quotes at Bayern Munich saying that he's loving it there at Bayern Munich. I don't want to misquote him or sensationalize what he said because that's not what Naber does. But it was kind of like, look, he's actually very happy now to be playing in a team where people actually like to pass to each other, enjoy to see other people score.
Did you say that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so obviously this might be a
is that a shot at Salah? We're not trying to cause issues, but that whole pass to each other and stuff, is that because there've been reports on Salah being very greedy, especially back in the day, especially.
Yeah.
So is that
I've seen another player, Mane, obviously scream at Klopp and say he just doesn't pass to me. It's just weird that the left wingers seem to just want to run away from Liverpool. Very strange. There's 2 back-to-back ones. The 2 back-to-back ones are like, no, I'm done now. I want something new. So I'm not trying to add to it. I'm very sure Liverpool supporters, obviously, you see things that I can't see. You know what I mean? You are Neo, so you're going to see things that we can't see. And I'm sure you will explain what the situation is there. But that's a fair point, Naeem, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say as well, Salah doesn't look right. Is it the end of Salah being,
You've been after this day for a while, Ed,
No, it's not even. Usually I'm wrong, right?
Catch me if you can, man. You've been trying to after Frank for a long time.
I know. Usually I'm wrong, but Salah usually has a blistering start to a Premier League season, right? He's amongst the goals early. It doesn't take long to warm up into the season. He's usually up and at him from game week 1. But he's been very off the pace. He doesn't look the same. I don't know what it is. Is it, the age-old question, has it finally caught up with him, age and the pace of the league? I don't think so, because he keeps himself in good nick. I don't think it's that. I think from a physicality standpoint and an athletic standpoint, he still seems sharp, right? And it's not like his mind knows what he wants to do, but his body can't keep up with his mind. I just don't know why he doesn't look the same. Like his decision-making looks scatty. Goals that would have been scored, he's now blazing over the bar and stuff like that. It just doesn't look like the same Salah, and I can't quite pinpoint what could be the reason.
I think he's not
the main man. It's not like Isak's come in and said, "Listen, I'm the guy now." It's the passing of the torch. Don't get me wrong, but
Salah ain't passing no torch, bro. The thing is, though, I hear what you mean in regards to that, but I think we've seen this film from Salah before. He goes to AFCON, comes back, can't even hit a barn door, then he just goes on 7 in a row. I think with him, remember, look, we have this argument, and nobody can question Salah's stats, and he scored some amazing goals. He's one of the best players to ever play in the Premier League. But when I have this conversation about Henry, and this is where Liverpool supporters, this is what I run out of words to describe them, because they start trying to say, Salah could talk to Henry. Look, nobody's questioning about stats, but as players, I've never once seen Thierry Henry, when he's not scoring, look bad. He's a horrible player when I can show you the first 7 games of Salah, and you tell me he's horrible to watch. It's horrible. And even when players are out of form, they're still beautiful players. They're still effective. You watch them, you're like, nobody can ever say, "Oh, Henry was horrible that game." Ever. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne, oh my God, he was a disaster that game. And like you said, Ed, I mean, it just doesn't. I just think, look, he's just going through his nasty patch. But we've seen this. Come on, we've seen this nasty patch.
He does this patch. He'll come back after international break, to your point, and bang,
Exactly.
7-7. Because
you can never count him out.
Yeah. But he will be got AFCON. To point, there is AFCON coming this year as well, which is,
and that's in December, right? That's just December.
January, isn't it? Yeah, December, January.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So some of our respective countries might not need to worry about that period, of course, but we'll see when it gets closer to that time, of course. But
it is AFCON, isn't it?
Yeah. So we'll see what impact that has on some of the clubs. I think obviously Salah will be gone, isn't it? And it's also we expect Egypt to do pretty well and get to at least quarters.
Yeah, go deep into the competition. The only thing is, in a weird way, would that be advantage Liverpool? Because obviously he's too big to ever get dropped. But could you imagine if Salah goes to AFCON and then suddenly they start playing, the cohesion is there and they get things together? Like, if he comes back and the club don't quite need to play with him, what does that then say? Because remember, he got the big fat contract as well in the summer.
400K? 400 a week, was it?
400K a week. So the situation where, like, you're giving him all this money, and I'm going to liken it to the situation at Arsenal when we gave Ozil and then Aubameyang that kind of money. As soon as we gave them that money, it just goes left. And then now it's like you have to justify why we're giving a player of that caliber that kind of money when the performances do not match up with what he's getting paid. Look at Rashford. I still believe that it wasn't even about Rashford's performances. It was that they wanted to get the wage bill under control. And he's on $350 a week, rumored, right? Who's pocket watching? But it's no coincidence that sometimes when you give these players that kind of money, it's, unless you're a Messi or Ronaldo, it's almost like no player is kind of worth that money. It's just they get paid for what they've done in the past and they set up the club. But
I think he is that player for them, though.
Listen, I believe he's worth every bit of that money, right? But it's a situation where he now has to continue performing. And if he's not going to perform, again, it now gives the manager a predicament, because I know Slot hasn't got the cachet to drop him. He should do, but it's like you don't drop Salah. It's unthinkable. The only time he doesn't play is when he's injured.
He won in the league last year. Let's not.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Yeah, no. Look, I hear what Ed. I do hear what. And listen, Naeem, you just put water on that. Look, me and Ed, I can tell we're in the mood today.
I know. I just think one thing with a lot of, I think they're trying to find new style as well to play as well a bit. With all the with Verts and this and that. I do think let's see how the egos clash a bit as well.
Listen. Let's just see. But look, I think I think it's a mini crisis. I think, look, I'll have to concede both of you don't think it is, and I think you're right. It's early days, 7 games in. Obviously, international break as well now, so we will see what happens. Right, we are going to move on to Arsenal. Arsenal were in a very precarious position a couple of weeks ago because they were, 5 points off the top, going into an away game at Newcastle. And it could have gone to 8. That's what people were saying. If it goes to 8, the league is done. But they seemed to have clawed their way back to a point, a small point. But when you do go, you got little different milestones. And we're going into the international break. And let's just face it, with the first 7 games, when you looked at it on the paper, you're thinking, we just need to survive that. Like, Arsenal just need to survive that. So to be top of the league, has to not be snuffed at. You can't look at that and think, okay, so it's a great, position to be in for Arsenal after those, tough fixtures. Now, I hate to say in the Premier League, there's going to be favourable, fixtures coming up, but you got to, Arsenal do have the start that they had. They're probably going to have more favourable fixtures going into this. Before we go in, there was a couple of milestones as well. Obviously, Arteta's 300th game in charge as Arsenal boss, and Saka's 200th game and 100 goals and assists. Ed, let's start with the game quickly, and then we'll go into the juicy matters of Arteta and Saka. West Ham, usually a banana skin. Over the last 3 years, they've actually, I could say probably 2 seasons ago, if Arsenal would have won, they would have won the league. And they didn't. That's how close it was again. And they seemed to come last season and get the win again. So what were your thoughts on that West Ham game?
I was confident. There's something different about Arsenal this season. And you can obviously point to the business done in the window. We've made a real effort to try and make sure that the squad overall is strong. Not so much that the first 11 picks itself and then there's nothing off the bench. Now you've seen with the injuries and the loss of form to certain players, no one's guaranteed a starting spot, really. You know what I mean? It's a situation where the loss of Odegaard is no longer just like, oh God, we've lost Odegaard for the season. We lost him for 4 months. What are we going to do? Eze's here now. You know, obviously Noni's injured and we wish him a speedy recovery, but he was bought for that very reason. If Saka was to go down, there would have been Noni. Martinelli has been starting for years, doesn't start anymore. So, you know, we're not worried so much if Gabriel or Saliba goes down because you've got Mascara. I know he had a shaky game against Newcastle last week, but again, in his 5 or 6 games in the Premier League so far, he's looked really, really good, right? And he looks like a good addition and the value for money. You've got Calafiori keeping that MLS, who started pretty much every game last season and was one of the players of the season for us last season. Ben White hasn't featured because Timber's, you know, our new starting right back. There's 1 to 11, and then you've got a strong bench. So that is where I'd say the difference about Arsenal is that we don't have to worry about who's going to start for us if someone goes injured or who's going to come in as a backup or, you know, an addition. With the game, yeah, I think it was business as usual, man. Even with the new manager, Nuno, I wasn't scared of West Ham. I don't think they're very good. I think Nuno will steady the ship, and I think they'll become more difficult to beat. I think if he gets his hands on the system and the players, and he works with them a lot more, they're going to be very, very difficult to beat. That's the hallmark of a Nuno side, is that, you know, defensively they're solid, they're aggressive, they press from the front, and you know, they exploit, you know, different weaknesses for other teams. And they've got that West Ham side. Even though they're not playing to their potential, they've got some good players, man. And they've got a good enough side to be at least a mid-table side in the Premier League, you know. So, but yeah, back to the game. I wasn't worried. You know, clean sheet, 3 points, good goal from Declan Rice, a penalty from Saka. All you can ask for, man. I don't think we played them off the park. I don't think it was a swashbuckling performance. Very professional, and that's what you want from your team right now. It doesn't have to be, you know, bells and whistles, even though we've been crying out for, you know, more attacking cohesion and more central progression. But in terms of doing the job and getting the job done, that's all you can ask for, man. So, yeah, I'm very happy with the 3 points. Happy we've gone top. So, yeah, that's all I can say.
Naeem, your thoughts on the game, and then we'll go to Arteta's.
Yeah, of course. I think Ed made some really valid points. It was like a second gear performance from Arsenal. You always thought, if and when they needed to, could step up a little bit. I think obviously once the first goal went in, I think even West Ham they knew that, you know, to score, especially with Arsenal defensively, was going to be difficult. West Ham obviously devoid of all ideas. Nuno's just come in, so, you know, we're going to give their second bottom. Let's not forget this as well at the moment. So I think Nuno will get them back into shape. Overall, Arsenal, I think no surprise. I think the squad, we discussed it, the squad strength is shown now. You know, even if Arsenal huff and puff for about an hour, the players they can bring off the bench, the quality there will mean majority. I think not most teams, bar the odd one, will struggle with the strength of the Arsenal team. So yeah, it was. I think this is what you wanted, especially after Europe as well. The European game, it was at 3 o'clock kickoff on the Saturday as well. Didn't have the break as much as some other teams do. Still to win 2-0, clean sheet. Obviously, the Odegaard, you know, injury normally, as Ed made a point, you know, normally be concerned. But I think if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'll be more excited about seeing Eze playing in that role for a bit and him settling in there, because him playing in centrally, I think you can see the difference. One observation I will say, though, is for Arsenal to be successful this year, Zubamendi has to stay fit and start majority of the games. You can see the fluidity changes when he's on the pitch. As much as good as Rice is, him at the 6, I think we need Zubamendi there in terms, especially with the distribution, the way he recycles the ball. It was very clear once he came off the bench.
I mean, you made a great point there. I think I do agree with you 50-50 on that. I think you're right. He will start as Arsenal's strongest 11. But what I did like is, again, listen, look, we're going to talk about Mikel Arteta. We've had some over-the-top critics many years of him. But one thing I've got to hand to Mikel Arteta is that after Anfield, everybody questioned him, handbrake on and stuff. He obviously, Man City started again with, you know, not the most positive, but at halftime changed it, brought Eze and Saka on. Again, it seems that he's actually being much more positive. You look at it on Saturday again. Never would I have thought in the midfield he would put Rice as the 6, drop Zubamendi, and have 2 10s. You had Odegaard and Eze. guys, like this is the guy that is unmovable. He's stubborn. He doesn't change things. This season, fair play, whether people want to agree or not, he's been given the squad that you're right. It demands winning, and he's actually saying, "Look, I'm not even going to play the games that I was playing before and being stubborn. Look, I've given you 2 number 10s, Eza and Odegaard, and Rice in the 6. Everyone's been saying Rice should have been the 6. He's actually said, no, Zubimendi, chill. And look what's happened when it wasn't working. Obviously, we went to injury. Again, like you said, Naeem, you bring Zubimendi on, it changes. Now Rice turns from the 6 into the swashbuckling. And what a performance from Declan Rice again. What a performance. We're not hearing any nonsense about settling in time. You know, this is £100 million player, and he's doing what £100 million player should do. You know what the number one thing £100 million player should do? Make sure that you don't question his price tag.
Facts.
Oh, real? That's the truth.
However you go about it, I don't care. However you go about it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Whether you're a striker, look, Joe Linton, you come in as a striker. Now you don't even question him being a striker anymore, because whatever position you're in, you just say, look, I'm doing my thing and it's worth it. So
Facts.
Unbelievable. And look, you bring Zubimendi on, it was flowing a lot more. But you're right. But listen, we're going to talk about Arteta, somebody who is being Ed's. It's very, very interesting. I think this is kind of like the Batman and Joker. Look, one can't exist without the other.
Which is which? Sorry, which is which?
Well, depends. To be fair, it changes from day to day. To be fair, but
it depends what Joker. If it's Heath Ledger, I'm the Joker, man, the bad boy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think you're the one from the TV series in '96. But listen, look, Ed, is somebody that I think deep down you do love. But I think because of your loyalty, I think deep down you do. I think you've got feelers for him in terms of being an Arsenal manager. I think you're one of those kids, in it. Look, your papa was Wenger. You got a new dad here. You're just one of those kids in there that just, oh, you're not my dad, and you know what I mean, just being silly. And you never did it like that. Oh, you know what?
Spagball's rubbish. Move, man.
But listen, you've always been quite fair, and you've always said if Arteta wins, you'll stay off it. But look, 300 games as Arsenal manager. Where are we after 300 games?
So there's some stats. So the most wins for a manager of a top-flight English side in their first 300 games, he is joint 4th. So the first is Pep Guardiola with 219, Jose 196, Dalglish 185. Jurgen Klopp and Mikel Arteta at 177.
Same as Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah. More than SAF, more than Wenger. So credit where it's due. That is brilliant, yeah. And remember, this is his first job. He's not a seasoned manager that's gone up, up the divisions or managing Spain first and went to Italy and England. No, this guy came in off the back of being Man City's assistant coach to, managing one of the biggest clubs in world football. The only difference is those names I've listed, they've all won the league. They've all won the league, man. And that's the glaring, I won't say mistake, but the glaring miss on his CV, right? The glaring miss on his CV. And Nobs, you believe he's going to do it. I think, Naeem, you probably believe he's going to do it.
Maybe, I don't know.
He's a flip-flopper, Naeem. Don't worry about him, man. He'll back the gut right at the end.
I think he will do it eventually.
He's not going anywhere, Arteta. Yeah. So it's on him now.
Nasty guy.
It's on him now to crown his achievements to win. He's got the squad now. He's got, I think his approval rating amongst Arsenal fans is still above 70%, I'd say. I think if he doesn't win it this year, you'll see it plummet. And I don't think Arsenal fans will take it like in previous seasons where, you finish second, at the death, or you've given it, the second half of the season, you played really, really well. And it's, some dodginess from the first half of the season as a reason why you haven't won it. This is a season now to win it. Liverpool have shown that they're not at the races. City are still in flux. Everyone is saying you probably got the best squad in terms of depth, quality-wise, I don't think it's the best in terms of star power. But you've got everything there, You've got everything there for you to win it. And I just want him to win the Premier League, man. It's been a long time. We finished second 3 times in a row. Again, what he inherited and where he's taken us from, deserves maximum credit. But my thing is, okay, that's cool. Where are you taking us to? That's all you hear about Arteta. It's always like, oh yeah, remember we were 8th, and look at the squad he had before him, and Wenger's mess. And yeah, that's cool.
Who said that?
Everyone's Wenger's mess. And everyone's heard it, man. That's all you say when you speak about Arteta. It's like, oh yeah, remember where he took us from? Okay, where are you
to be fair, listen, look. To be fair, I think you've raised
some. That's my thing.
I think you've raised some fair points with that. I think with Arteta, for me, look, Arteta, I really like Arteta, and I want him. I think Emmanuel Petit made a point like, okay, someone asked him if he doesn't win, no, I don't care about anyone else now. I want you to win it, Arteta, because I know how the press feel about you. I know how rival fans feel about you. I know how a section of the Arsenal fans feel about you. And for me, I love the fact that, Arsenal is a club that is built on the fact that no one likes us. And they did the same thing with Wenger. Just because they only started singing Wenger's praises is when obviously we started falling off a bit, and then he started getting a bit older. But at the time, there was, I thought, quite a few xenophobic sort of tones in there, like, this French guy coming in and he's a bit pompous and, with the drinking culture. So, look, we've never been liked, and I just want him to win it for him. But look, Wenger came in 96.
Mm-hmm. This month, actually,
He won it in 1998. And then we went 3 seasons without winning the Premier League, didn't we? And then we won it in 2002 for the double. So to be fair, it's very different. You're right. He actually won the Premier League. One thing I would say, just to use context, Wenger's the greatest ever, so I'm not even questioning it. It's not that he's the greatest Arsenal manager of all time. He's one of the greatest managers to ever come, and I think he helped change the face of English football in terms of the diet and stuff, so nobody's trying to compare. But just looking at when they arrived at the club, he did have, Wenger did have some really, really good professionals that they had won the league, maybe 5 seasons before that, won a cup before that. So they had guys in there that you can count on, David Seaman, you still had Dixon, Adams, Bold, Winterburn, Dennis Bergkamp, you turn up there. So it's a decent squad to kind of work with and then build on. And he didn't have to change much. Remy Gard, Mark Overmars, Petit. Obviously, this was the season after, obviously, Patrick Vieira and then Anelka. You still had Ian Wright there. I think Arteta started from a different place, man. I think he started from a place where, and yeah, Ed, I think is questioning why it's taken this long, but he started, the club was a disarray, man. Like, nobody wanted to go to the Emirates. We had the Puma kit. I think that was probably the worst thing about things. But nasty set of kits. Honestly, if you look at the team, again, he didn't have the whole backing of everybody coming in, and it was a rookie as well. You look at what Postecoglu's done. You look at other managers and see where they come into places and see how hard it is. And this guy was a rookie. This wasn't a guy that has managed Celtic before and he's got some. Do you know what I mean? He was a rookie, and he's coming in. You got to think of the drop in quality. He's there with Leroy Sané, Kevin De Bruyne,
Aguero,
Sterling, and then he comes in. No disrespect, you got Mustafi, you got Socrates. You have to play Saka as a left back. So when I look at his body of work at Arsenal, maybe he hasn't done it as quickly as other people have wanted him to. But he's turned the left back Saka into arguably one of the best right wingers in world football. He's turned us into a team that are not getting turned over by 6 or what have you. We're probably one of the best defense. So you've got Saka, one of the best right backs in world football. You've got Raya, who is actually now, people are saying he's actually joint best goalkeeper with Alisson in the league. You've got the best back four, arguably, in Europe again. Yeah. You now, of course, he hasn't had the centre forward. He's had Aubameyang. He's had to deal with these things as well. Aubameyang was huge for me, one of my favourite Arsenal players, but he had to deal with a lot of passer. It wasn't just easy. And this ain't a guy that's experienced. Wenger would have handled it differently because he is one of the best ever He's a man-to-man manager. He would have spoken to Aubameyang. He would have sorted out. He had to make tough decisions. So I don't want Arsenal fans to lose sight of. We're disappointed by finishing three times in a row. But so we did under Arsene Wenger as well. And, hopefully this will be the season as well that Arteta does it. But yeah, maybe he should have won 1 or 2 league titles. Maybe he's questioned. He's a manager. He's going to be making mistakes. But for a rookie to come in and do this, I think it's an incredible job that he's done. And yeah, we just want him to get over the line. But sometimes take a look at other clubs around you and see how difficult it really is. Because a lot of people have been swallowed up by Arsenal. A lot of people. But the board backed him. People say COVID, comsa, who knows? But at the end of the day, it's incredible. That's the way we're talking. We're talking about the squad like, oh my God, this is like, remember, it's still the same owners.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got something to say to this. It's the same owners. So you can't say, oh.
Bear in mind, with the owners, sorry to let you, with Arteta as well, as I think timing-wise for him, he came in when he took full ownership.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's when the purse strings opened a bit. So I think there's a bit. He timed it really well. One thing with Arteta, I think he made some really good points. One thing he had to do, and I'm not. He's biggest fan as you are, the bed. I'm not as diplomatic as Ed in certain aspects when it came to him. I think that's the nicest thing I've ever heard Ed say about Arteta ever.
I'm a fair man. I told you, I'm fair. You know what I mean,
credit to you is that he took over at Arsenal. But I think one thing when Wenger came in. Is that the league wasn't as strong then as the league is now in certain aspects in terms of the overall clubs. In terms of you look at the quality of the leagues, I think you could say there's been 1 or 2 top teams when I mean if you look at when 98 when Arsenal won it just other than United there wasn't Liverpool at the same sort of team.
Yeah, Chelsea weren't here, Man City were in Division 2.
How many other teams have won the Prem since Arteta come in?
You're right.
In terms of the quality of the league, you're telling me that I'm trying to give him credit here. I know there's really Mr. Arteta, really, but the thing is, he's like, no. The thing is with this, I give him credit. He had a worse team he took over than Wenger did. Like, let's not forget this. Right, as much as we're polite in that team was smelly, right? Absolutely, Holding was there, wasn't he, as well? Mm-hmm. Was Kolasinac was left back? Was he there yet?
Yeah. Listen, there was a lot of bums there, man.
There was a lot. He dealt with that.
On an FA Cup. Don't skip over that.
Yeah, and he did credit to him. And then started, KSC obviously backed him with the money, right? But majority of the signings he's brought in, you look at the players they've spent the money on, the longevity they're getting out of the team players as well. Let's not forget, a lot of the players have been there, been for a bit, and have signed on. I think that's one big thing we've got to give him the credit. Saliba signed a new contract, hasn't he? Now, Gabriel did in the summer.
Saka next.
There's talking about Timber as well. Odegaard supposedly has as well. So if you look at all, there is obviously something going really well there. I think Ed made a really good point that obviously he hasn't won the league in that period of those games, those 300 games, with context because of the squad he inherited. We've got to take that into consideration. However, all these relatives are great, but at the end of this season, he has to deliver a league title for me. Champions League would be great because we've not seen that, but for Arsenal. But I think the league title is the minimum. And from this position with this squad, only a point ahead, the squad, and when most of the players are coming back in a month or so, those injuries. I think even your boy Jesus might be back soon as well. So
forget about that one, man.
He's gonna be the savior.
We're all in this together.
Forget about that one, brother.
At the end of the season, yeah,
I agree with you, I agree. Listen, I agree with you. I think that's you've put that well. That look, and I think that's a testament to Arteta because this is the level that you have set. It's not as sometimes I used to look at it maybe a little bit insensitive, like, hold on, what's going on here? But sometimes you set the standards. It's like, listen, bro, this is the standards that you set. So I demand you actually being the best and coming in. That's actually a compliment sometimes. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, fair play. And hopefully
that's how I see it. It's like, you set the standard. And I think a lot of fans, like his diehards, when it's time for you to put an actual cap or an expectation on him, suddenly they get scared, or it's like, oh, look where he's taken us from. No, brother, he set the standard, And you know what it's like to win titles. Granted, it was 21 years ago since we last won our title. But you know, if you're of a certain age as an Arsenal fan, you've seen success. So don't be getting scared now to put success on Arteta, because when there's no pressure, he's the best manager in the world. We've got the best squad in the world, best this, best that. Then when we don't, when we don't meet those objectives, suddenly it's everyone else's fault as to why we didn't win the league. Injuries, PGMO, like it's everything. But no, Arteta, like you set the standard. When it's time to praise Arteta, yeah, everyone's on board, like he's diehards. The minute there's criticism or there's things you can say, he needs to work on this, suddenly it's cause for concern or mitigation.
You know what? I hear that, but I actually think no, I hear that. I think it's fair. I don't think you've told any lies there. One lie, but I think the reason why Arteta fans maybe try to ride or die for him is because the fact that I think he's probably the most disliked managers. I think the treatment that he gets is actually absolutely disgusting, and I'm talking about in the press. I cannot believe a manager. Yes, he hasn't won the league, but he's done everything bar that. If Arteta went to many other clubs, people keep talking about winning the league and stuff, and it's important, of course. But what he's done for Arsenal Football Club, this is not a joke club. The reason why people dislike Arsenal even more now is because they actually look and think, my God, like they're annoying. You're not going to go and think, yeah, we'll just beat Arsenal. It's been a very long time, probably Liverpool supporters who believe they'll beat anyone. But there's apart from that, if supporters really are talking about it and you've got Arsenal on the weekend, I don't care what anyone says. The majority are not going to be like, yeah, easy, we'll get 3 points from Arsenal. You're not.
Yeah,
they're no way a joke of a team. Even the way in Europe, the way they speak about Arteta, I'm talking about all the way through the Champions League. Yeah, Arteta, yeah, the team, great coach, one of the best defensive teams. And I don't think he gets enough credit. I generally don't. I'm seeing, I don't think the media give him enough respect, and especially the supporters. Now, listen, you're not Arsenal supporters. So they're not supposed to be singing praise for Arteta, but you got Tottenham guys trying to mug off Arteta. You would, for a manager of that quality, just say the words. Do you know what? Can't stand him. He's a top manager. They can't say it. They were telling us that Emery was a top manager. Remember?
It's nasty.
Remember Emery 2 seasons ago? Oh my God, he's a top manager. He's a top manager.
But you know what it is, Nobs? It's what you said. It's the fact that it's Arsenal. That's what it was. If Arteta was doing this at Villa or God forbid Spurs, they'll be talking about giving this guy a knighthood. It's the levels, man. It's the club as well. It's the fact that Arsenal have never had friends in the media, like you said. George Graham said it best. They hate us, innit? That's just the way it is. They don't like us. If you're an Arsenal fan, you're not very well liked. So it is what it is. If Arteta had done this at Everton and taken Everton to the dizzy heights of second, he would have been nicked. He would have gone to Man United now. He would have nicked a move. You see how like people are talking about Glasner in Raiola? He'll be like that with Arteta if he was doing it for a lesser club.
But remember, look at Mourinho. Look at Jose though, bro. Oh my God, Arteta's arrogant. He's rude. He doesn't even say anything. He might question referees. Mourinho can come in and say what he wants. Oh yeah, we need a bit of character in the Premier League. You did so. That's character. This is someone that's poked someone in their eye. This is somebody that's come on and now look. I'm not questioning it is entertainment, but let's just be fair. With Arteta, the most he'll do is moan about the referees or some questionable decisions. But listen, we got to carry on because we could have done this all the way. But we do need to talk about before we go anywhere. Saka. Before we will be moving on, 200th league game with 100 goal assists. Obviously, we can't go on too long about this, but obviously, this is your star boy. This is somebody that fair play to Ed. I don't think it's got anything to do with where his parents were born, but Ed has really taken on this young man. Like I've not seen him take on anyone else. To be fair. He can do no wrong in it. You know what I mean? Most I've seen when Saka's done something wrong, goes, oh, come on, Saka. Everyone else gets the effing and jeffins, you know what I mean? Questions. So Ed, this must be obviously, 200 league game, 100 goals and assists. Fantastic for a left back, right?
Listen, everything they tried to say about this guy, every metric, every bit of slander they've tried to put on his name, he's shown them up, man. This guy is brilliant. He's not the most flashy. He might not be the most, razzle-dazzle and all that kind of stuff, step overs galore and drag backs and flicks and tricks. But he's guaranteed a 7 out of 10 pretty much week in, week out. When he's at his pomp, you can't deal with him, man. He can go inside, he can go outside. He gives you 15 goals a season, gives you 10 plus assists a season. The guy is the real deal. The first name on the England team sheet probably, and the first name on the Arsenal team sheet definitely, right? And everyone's used what you said right is right. Oh, not bad for a left back. They tried to say he's a left back. They tried to say he's this, he's that. He is one of the best players in the world, man. There's not many right wingers better than him. And yeah, like to see him get, start his 200th game for Arsenal with, his 100th goal and assist. Brilliant body of work, man. Brilliant body of work. He is slowly becoming an Arsenal all-timer. And that's hefty praise, because our all-time 11 is jam-packed with some real quality, right? So for him to be making a name for himself at Arsenal, you saw the post from Thierry Henry. He's proud of him. We all love him at the club, man. He's our star boy. All he needs now is some more trophies, man. His career is deserving of some more trophies, man. And yeah, it would have been even quicker for him to get, his 200th league game with 100 golden moments. If he wasn't injured for 3-4 months last season, he would have made that milestone quicker. But but yeah, man, brilliant career, and off the pitch as well. Then no one's got a bad word to say about him. I think that is his legacy. Is that there's some players where their quality is undeniable, right? But they might have questionable character off the pitch. But no one has anything bad to say about Bukayo Saka, man. Everyone loves him. He reads his Bible. Looks like a family man. Yeah, man. We'll never ever catch him in the paper for doing anything silly. Just a brilliant example of what it is to be a professional, what it is to be a black professional. A great role model for the youth as well. So I'm just happy for the boy, man. Just all we need now is he does his job. Arsenal, do your job for him, man, and help him win trophies, innit?
Naeem.
I mean, Ed spoke so beautifully. Obviously he's fellow countryman. I think I echo everything he said. I think echo he said. I'm going to take the country bias out of it. You'd adopt him, isn't it? The boy he's called Star Boy for a reason. Mm-hmm. You don't, the negativity he's had to live through in a very short time career-wise, because his trajectory's been, going to England, with the penalties and how he turned that around as a kid. Let's not forget. But I think the biggest thing, I think Ed made a point, the biggest thing I'll get out of it is for a 24-year-old young kid carries himself as a professional, as a man in, when everyone looks up to sporting heroes. We all did, isn't it? We were sporting heroes growing up. Mm-hmm. Saka's the one you'd want your kids to look up to, right? As a man, how he runs himself externally. You never see him again in the press. Obviously, very God-fearing. A lot of humility about him as well. So yeah, I've got nothing to say. Always been questioned. Mm-hmm. You said is he a left? If he a left back, he played left back for England. Remember in the Euros, and he still did a great job. Like let's not forget that he's a team player as well. The numbers are credit to him at 24. I think he's about to become Arsenal's best, highest paid player, which you can't argue with. Yeah, for what you're saying. And I mean, I've got only superlatives to say about him. All you want him to do is win some trophies at Arsenal and stay at Arsenal for the rest of his, and become, have that statue outside the Emirates like some of the others, because the way he's going, he'll have one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, you guys have done. Listen, look, it's an amazing achievement. 200 games for Arsenal Football Club, come all the way from Haaland as well. So he's one of our own, 100 goals, assists. And listen, look, he is a real superstar, but a superstar he deserves his credits, because you know what, he has actually been, and he's handled it with so much grace. He's had so much challenges as well. This is why people love him. We can talk about the England, missed penalties and the horrible abuse, but he stepped up. He's loved at Arsenal Football Club. He's come all the way from Haaland, wherever he was asked to play. Started as a left back. Arteta's seen him as the right winger, and he's one of the best right wingers in world football. And a big game player, Man United, it's Saka. Liverpool is Saka. Real Madrid at the Bernabeu is Saka. And he came back after the injury as well. His latest one with his hamstring.
England's most consistent as well, to your point.
And yeah, listen, England, he's got to be playing there. We keep hearing, Foden's better than him. Yeah. Cole Palmer's better than him. I've even hearing ridiculous things that, Kulusevski can talk to him a couple of years ago. It's so strange that whatever young English player or sort of winger forward that's doing well, it's always like Saka is the one that they try to compare him against. Oh yeah, he's better than Saka. It's like you're trying to get a rise out of people. We don't realize we don't care. This is Arsenal Football Club. We don't care. He's one of our own, and we're very, very proud of him. And just long may it continue doing what you're doing, Saka, man. You deserve it. And yeah, you're right. Hopefully he can, get a huge trophy, which is the Premier League or Champions League, man, just to top it off for him. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, great role model for everybody. Right, we are going to move on to somebody that was always topic of discussion while he was Tottenham manager. He left with 22 defeats last season. However, he did win the Europa League, but was subsequently sacked. For me, this is just desserts. And look, I'm not, I've been questioned in the past that I never.
You're a nasty youth, man. You're a nasty.
It's knobs, you're cancer. I know when you wrong cancers and you cross cancers. But listen, man, I'm just a man of principle. And look, at the end of the day, I think this is a little bit of egg on the face to the owner of Nottingham Forest, because listen, sometimes the grass does look greener on the other side. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go and give, Nuno a knighthood or build a statue outside for it, but he literally put Forest back on the map. Yes, of course, the ownership done with the back end, but he's put them back. He's made them a very difficult team to beat, tinkering and flirting with Champions League football. And you know what? If you're going to go and, cheat, go and bring somebody who, you can flex and say, look, I've got someone here. I'm not trying to discredit Ange, but listen, he's won that trophy. But look, you've seen it, 22 league defeats. And Tottenham's squad is better than Forest squad. So you just got to go on what was going on, and you let go of Nuno. I heard it got a bit nasty as well. He tried to show some class as well. And then now you've picked up, Ange. And look, the fans aren't even taken to it. It's an honest club, Forest. Big club there. The supporters are really, really close. I was actually speaking to a Forest supporter that was like, we're in trouble.
Nottingham Forest fan, mad.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and he was like, "No, we're in trouble." He goes, "We're in trouble. We're just so open at the moment, and I know it's early. Well, we're saying it's early, but he can't catch a win here. He has to really turn things around now. Unless he's going to go in Europe and go and win again, they could be facing the bottom half of that table now because they're just way too open." From what I've seen there, even the way the squad was built in Nuno, they're a bit, negative or but they were hard to beat, and the players suited that system. This free-flowing football thing, I don't know. So it's going to be a long season for Forest supporters. Obviously, the one that I know reckons it's going to be a long season. Sometimes you should be careful, very, very careful the way that you treat managers that have been great. I've, publicly coming out and remonstrating managers. I said it at the time. I just don't like to see that stuff. Again, I was told I'm not a billionaire. It's not my club, and he can do what he wants. That's not how football works sometimes. If every person, individual in a football club just says, I can do what I want, and you just have to hold it, then it'll be criticized. A player can't do that. A manager, I can do what I want. You know what I mean? It's a team game. You don't want to start embarrassing people. How many times was Nuno embarrassed on national television? Coming on the pitch. What is this, man? The last time I've seen somebody storming after someone like that was my mum, Claudia, when at the end of the day, I was supposed to be home at 5 o'clock and it was 5:02. And she came storming out, you know what I mean, in front of my friends.
Pulled your ear like that, innit?
I wish I had my ear pulled, but anyway, do you know what I mean? But what is going on? This is, Nuno, I think he deserves a little bit more respect than this. These are conversations you should have behind closed doors. And all in now, you brought Ange in now. Can't buy a win. 22 league defeats with Spurs. Obviously, he wants to gamble it all and win something. Listen, if they win something in Europe or they win a cup, cool. But you need to be ready because it's going to be a very, very long and tough season.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a really good point. I think with Forest, I think alarm bells were when free Morgan Gibbs White, when he was kept. You know that there was alarm bells as soon as I saw that image where he goes, "Yeah, I want to stay at Forest instead of going to Spurs." When Marianakis came up, turned up. I think
blink if you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're in trouble. You know that. You know those. You know that suit wearing he's either. You know those. They get those hostages.
Next to man, man was standing. I've just never seen anything like this.
Hands behind. You know that.
Suge Knight, man.
Suge Knight. That was a Suge Knight special, 100%. But I think the one thing we mentioned, I think a few weeks back, was the Edu factor, because it's very, from what they said, is it's a lot of it was Edu and Nuno falling out, and then Mariakis picked Edu because obviously his new shiny signing from Arsenal to do all the recruitment. And you look at some of the players he's brought in, a lot of players that Arsenal linked to, Douglas Luiz as an example. That's where the issue went, and I think it sounds like obviously it's very clear that he had Forest. They had a really good relationship, obviously, with the manager. You could see the players playing for him. That you can tell from what it looks like. Them getting rid of Nuno has obviously upset the dressing room naturally, and you can see it in the performances of those players. They don't run like they were doing last season for Nuno. And then Ange just come in with Ange ball, as you want to call it, but he hasn't got the players there either. To your point, he struggled. He had a better team with Spurs, and he struggled them big time. And luckily, he played arguably one of the worst teams he could have played in the final, with being Man United. And
the semi-final as well. Don't forget, I think the semi-final was,
That's a fair point. So it was baffling Ange coming in anyway. I don't know if it's something to do with a bit of nepotism. I should be very careful. Allegedly, I'll be careful what I say in that aspect with Ange. But I suppose he's under a lot of pressure. They've lost all the games. We've seen better teams get relegated. We've said it before, right? We've seen better teams get relegated. A lot of chop and chain at Forest again. They've got some very good players there, but the way it's going, I think they're in a lot of trouble. And I think the way Marianakis is, what they're going to do, going to keep Ange till Christmas, and then who do you get in? Because I think they had the best manager there who shaped that team around how Nuno wants to play. That's the big
you in a Champions League run. Exactly. We'll go to Ed now, but look, he got you into a Champions League run. He got you actually respecting Forest, because you looked at that fixture thinking, "Oh, yeah, Forest, they're difficult to beat here." He's putting you back on the map.
Let's just with Chris Wood up top. Chris Wood, he's Elanga's got his career back, and now he's got to move to Newcastle. Calamuts-Doy's found a bit of a. So he's done. Look what he's done with Ellie Anderson's playing really well.
That's a player there, man.
Good player, really good player. So you look. You obviously can pick a player, and now Edu's come in, and I think that's the dominoes are falling, which is I'm not going to lie, I don't mind seeing.
Ed, Ange.
Yeah, I think if it goes left, like it's looking like for Ange, I think that's going to be his last job in the Prem. 22 defeats in last season for Spurs, winless in 7 or 8 games for Forest already. Yeah, man, it's quite dark. It is quite dark for him, and I don't quite understand the appointment. I know, it went left with Nuno and Edu, and obviously Marianakis chose Edu. But if you look back at the end of last season for Forest, even under Nuno, it fell apart like towards the end anyway. So I think it's an accumulation of the poor end to the season for Forest, and then turmoil. Gibbs White wanted to move to Spurs. Alanga leaving. Then there's beef between Edu and Nuno, and then obviously it spilled into the beginning of the season. There was rumours that he didn't want to buy or didn't want to get Douglas Luiz on loan and other players from Brazil and XYZ. So there's a combination of things. But it's not like Ange is the type of manager that can come in and steady a ship. You've seen that. Like he's not the kind of guy that's like an Allardyce of old, or one of those managers like a Roy Hodgson or a Ranić or a Gus Hiddink from back in the day, where short-term manager, 11, 12 games, try and get 6 wins, couple draws, and the rest losses. It's not going to be that kind of game and that kind of style. So I don't know how long he's going to be at Forest, and if they do sack him, the next manager's got a job on, honestly. I'm worried for Ange at Forest. I think they've got enough to turn it around. I just don't think Ange is the manager to do that, unfortunately. So, like that your Forest fan said, yeah, it can get really, really dark. Really, really dark.
It's actually becoming a job where you look at it and think, is this worth it? It's probably going to be worth the money, but you've got to look before you go to a job, a role, and you've got to think, okay, I've seen the way Nuno is treated. I'm seeing players being, paraded in front of the world's media and told to, being stared down, but whilst was reading, I'm very happy to be here, and that's a bit weird, isn't it? Like, I don't know who you're really fooling here, to be honest with you. I don't know what that was supposed to have been done, or what we're supposed to have thought about this. The deal to Spurs is close, and then you're now marched out in front of the world's media to now say that you love the club and you want to stay. I mean, but then you've also had, just before, you've also marched onto the pitch after a draw or defeat, and you've gone for your manager. I don't think I've even seen it even when I was studying in retail or any job that I've held, and people say that it's not the same as football, and managers get sacked very, very, very frequently in football. But I don't think I've ever seen a chairman or owner actually come onto the pitch and actually start to have an argument or have a go at the coach or manager. And I've had some shocking section managers at my time. I can't mention the company that I've worked in, and that should have been happening every 10 minutes. They were useless. But I've never actually seen the manager come down and actually, tell him off. So he's come down, he's told off the manager, the coach, in front of the world's media. A player wants to go, then you're now basically staring him down, telling him he wants to stay. You go and sack the guy that got you back into Europe and was, flirting with Champions League qualification. Forest are back in Europe. This ain't no mean feat. He's made you difficult to beat. You just add to the squad. But look, you've made decisions. You've brought in Edu now. Obviously, they've fallen out. And you sack him. And then you bring in Ange, who is, he has won a trophy. But I think sometimes we need to use context here. It was great him winning the Europa League. I laugh and joke about it, calling it the Eurovision Song Contest Cup. But that's probably one of the weakest Europa League campaigns I've ever seen. Doesn't take away the fact that he still won. However, we do need to use context there as well. He wasn't playing Atletico Madrid or, Villarreal in the final or the AC. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be real. It's a great trophy. Tottenham, they're going to dine on this for 600 years. However, let's use context. He's lost 22 league games. And this is the guy that you're going to put your hopes in. He's not great. I don't know how good he is in man management. And I think it's dangerous for Ange, because you're right. He could have maybe left it maybe a year or 2 or 8 months and probably got another job in the Prem. But now you've just been sacked, and then you're going to be sacked again.
Yeah.
Not great.
I mean, for him, you want to get back into management as soon as possible. I know they're highly paid, but if you've not got money coming in, you still need to, pay your bills or whatever. Obviously, it's not the same as someone on a measly 50 grand a year compared to what these guys earn. No, it's not. But life still moves on, right? Money's money, and you need it, yeah. But it would have been probably easier or wiser for him to go to a weaker league.
You're still laughing because I'm like, that's a wild comment.
And listen, when I said measly 50 grand, measly 50 grand is not measly. It's measly compared to the millions they're getting paid. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, I'm not rubbishing that kind of money.
That's your jet bill, isn't it? That's your private jet bill.
If you're if you are on 5 million a year, what's 50 grand to 5 million? Is what I'm trying to say. Context, guys. Context. Focus.
Okay, apologies.
Focus.
No, just check it, because obviously Ed was just talking about a fellow countryman being humble and God-fearing and stuff, and then obviously you've got the older cousin here who is say 50 grand or measly 50 grand. Look, people are going to see these headlines, Ed. But
drop
okay, cool.
It out, family. Drop it out.
Exactly.
No, but what I was saying was, I think he probably would have been better suited to go to a weaker league or a lesser league, restore his reputation, maybe win something over there, and come back to the Prem, because now the Prem is a very unforgiving league, man. 22 league losses in a season, yeah. It's crazy. That's relegation fodder. Yeah. He's just lucky that there were teams way worse than Tottenham and United that year, right? And then you come back to Forest and it's more of the same. Winless again, man. Can't buy a win. So it's now 29 losses in.
You know what would have been perfect for him? Spain or Portugal for me.
Exactly, like
you're supposed to play that. Well,
or
no,
Italy.
Spain, but yeah, the majority of teams are going to play. I want to see this beautiful football, and they'd accept it. You know, some people you can't play. How dare you? You know, what I mean, play full at the back, or how dare you be? They want you to play that way. So, in the podcast, does he last past Christmas?
No, if results keep going the way they're going, Marinakis has to sack him, man. Because say what I want to say about the owner, the money he spent and the checkbook's never been closed, and without his money, and some of the decisions he make, they won't be back to where they are. He got them back into the Premier League, and he's got them in Europe as well. So even though it's not been great in terms of his man management, to say the least, without the City fans should have to, they have to be, not the City fans, Forest fans, sorry, because it's City ground, but Forest fans have to be grateful to, the owner at least for getting him back into the big time and then back into Europe. So yeah, if all the hard work from last season goes undone, Ange ain't staying until Christmas.
Naeem?
I'm in complete agreement. I think he'll be shipped out very, very, very soon by Marinakis. The way it's going, by end of November, I reckon he's gone.
Yeah.
Lose a couple of games, that's it. I think at Chelsea the next game. I think at Chelsea or something coming up.
Yeah, well. Yeah, man. It's looking dark for Ange.
Tough. But listen, guys, thank you so much for everybody tuning in to the Offside Chat podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Definitely, we will see you episode 9.
Peace.